Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing episode 1 of The Rescue, which is called The Powerful Enemy. Now, this is the first time, of course, I've seen The Rescue. This was sent to me by one of my patrons, Flyattractor, which I really appreciate. He sent me the DVD with it and the Romans on it, and he sent me the novelization of The Rescue too, which I think's been filled out more since it's only a two-parter. I forget about these two-parters sometimes. The Rescue is an interesting one because most Doctor Who stories, I know kind of going into them what they're about. You know, like Dalek Invasion of Earth, Time Meddler, the Aztecs. I have some idea, some knowledge of them going into them. The Rescue I'm going into since I've only seen part 1, completely blind. I don't know anything about it. Other than, obviously, there's some kind of rescue going on. I was completely blind going into this. It's just not one I ever hear people really talk about. So I had no knowledge of if it was on Earth, another planet, the future, the past. I realize now it's the story that takes place right after Dalek Invasion of Earth, which I saw for the first time recently, but I didn't realize that until I started watching it, so I was blind to that. So when I see the beginning of the episode and they're in a spaceship and I see Vicky run in, I realize really quick, oh hey, this is Vicky's first story. I didn't realize that either. And I've liked Vicky so far. She's a good combination, I think, of Susan and Barbara with the best aspects of both. I really enjoyed her in Galaxy 4 and the Time Meddler, and I've read the Target novelization, just finished it, I think, yesterday or the day before, of The Mythmakers, which is her final story. And her character's a little disappointing in that, but still pretty good. So it's nice to see her first story here. We'll start with her character. She's a little Susan-y in this first story. She acts a little like Susan, but I mean, she is supposed to be like a 17-year-old girl, so I guess I get it. We find out, her father has been killed, so I can understand kind of why she is the way she is. She's definitely hasn't developed into the stronger character of Vicky that I'm a little more familiar with in later stories like the Time Meddler and Galaxy 4. So it's going to be interesting seeing more of her character art with that. I like her in this. Just her, you can almost see the desperation to get away in her acting and in her face, and I really like that. She's done well. And the fact that she wants to get away and that she's scared of this native of the planet, Killian, or whatever, Kilo Khan, for you Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad fans, however you say his name. The alien on the planet, I'm just going to call him Kilo. She's scared of Kilo for some reason. Kilo's an interesting villain. If he is a villain, which I'm assuming he's a villain because the episode's called The Powerful Enemy. I like his design, the alien costume he's wearing. That looks really good. It looks very alien, not just like, say, Star Trek The Next Generation, where it's just a little face makeup. I like the fact it's a full-on deal with the helmet and the hands, and he looks sufficiently alien that the closest thing I can think of to compare it to is a predator. It's like a proto-predator. I really like the design on that. That really, really impressed me, and I definitely wanted to give that its due. I really liked Kilo's design. Interesting, the thing he's carrying, it kind of reminds me of a sonic screwdriver, which is interesting because that hasn't been introduced to the show yet, so it's like a larger sonic screwdriver, the way he uses it to cause kind of the cave-in. I thought that was really neat. I'm not sure what I think of the other guy on the ship who survives, like Bertram or whatever his name is, something with a B. I'm terrible with names. The one that seems injured. He's the only one that survived the attack that apparently killed everyone else that had been on the ship with Vicky. Or Vicky had been sick, but when they went to the encampment, he's the only one that made it back. So I don't know if he actually just managed to survive and he's a pretty okay dude, or if he's actually kind of a scumbag who's in league with Kilo, like maybe they worked out a deal. So I'm not quite sure if I trust him or not. Ian and Barbara are great. I had forgotten Ian and Barbara were in this because I'm not used to seeing Vicky and seeing Ian and Barbara. I think of them separately. I've never seen them in a story together, so that's interesting. So, because again, it took me a minute to catch on. This is the story right after Dalek Invasion of Earth. So, that was interesting when it cuts to the scene in the TARDIS and I saw Ian and Barbara, because I just saw Vicky, so now I'm seeing Ian and Barbara. That took me a second to mentally adjust to. And I enjoyed the conversation there with them and the doctor. and how she talks about how the TARDIS has stopped trembling. She knew it had landed. Well, it stopped we've stopped trembling, and the Doctor's like, "Oh, that's all right, my dear. I knew you would feel better." And she's like, "No, not me, Doctor. The TARDIS." That's funny. I got a kick out of that. I really like Hartnell in this one. Hartnell's really good in this one. And I like how Ian. I usually think of Ian and Barbara as Ian and Barbara, but the more I see of them, I realize they get split up quite a bit, and they do in this one pretty early on when they run into Kilo. And he runs back to the TARDIS to go get the Doctor, and Kilo causes the cave-in that separates them, and then Barbara falls down off the little cliff area. So it's interesting they get separated so early. And I like the bit with Hartnell. I like Hartnell in the story. I like Hartnell when he's inside the TARDIS and he realizes what planet he's on, and he's talking about, I must be back on Dungur or whatever planet it's called. Oh, they're such a nice people. It'll be good to see them again. I love the little monologue he has there. Like, basically he's talking out loud to himself, because it has this little childlike wonder to it. Or wonder to it. I don't know why I'm saying wander. Wonder to it. This childlike wonder to it. And I like that the Doctor has had that this far back, because we think of how the Doctor just in general tends to have this childlike curiosity at times. When we see this in a lot of them, Tennant, Smith, Tom Baker, Patrick Troughton, like pretty much all of them to a degree. It's nice to see that even Hartnell, even the old man Hartnell, has that childlike curiosity at times. Oh, I'm back on this planet. He almost seems like a kid in a candy store for a second. And I adore how Hartnell plays that. It's interesting seeing him and Ian having to work together to get out right there. And I like the part when they see the creature down below and Ian's got the flashlight shining in his face. And he's like, don't shine the torch in my face. Shine it down there at the creature. The annoyance in Hartnell's voice. And I always have to mentally adjust to when people call that a torch. Because I live in the States, we call that a flashlight. When I think of a torch, I think of a flaming torch, like you go hunt Frankenstein with. Something what British people call a torch, I think of as a flashlight. Although, to be fair, a torch does make more sense because a flashlight doesn't flash. It's not a flashlight, it's a steady beam. I guess we should call it a steady light. But I like that. Don't shine the torch on my shine it down there. The cliffhanger itself is all right. With the blades coming out, I'd be like, take off your coat, climb up on top of them, but it's fine. I enjoy a lot of that. Vicky's excitement at finding Barbara and hiding Barbara is nice. And I see that Vicky just tells Bertram, or whatever his name is, about Barbara when it cuts away from them, so we don't know what his reaction to Barbara being there is going to be, because I still don't know if I can trust this guy or not, the other injured survivor. I know a rescue ship is supposed to be coming in like 3 days, 69 hours away. Curious to see what's going on with that. And the interesting thing about the alien on the planet, one I call Kilo, with the cool design and the primitive sonic screwdriver, is I wonder if he's the only one of his people left, because the Doctor has been on this planet before, and he talks to Ian about how it's a peaceful planet. Everyone here is peaceful and nice. They get along. And he's like, he explains to Ian that there's not a lot of them. There's only like 100 or so. So everybody's really nice to each other. So I wonder what happened to change that. Did the little sonic device suddenly become one of those things? Well, whoever has it has the most power. Is it like a symbol of leadership? Did it become that accidentally? And did wars and stuff start over it? And is Kilo now the only one of his kind left? Is all of the other of his people dead? And that he wants to keep Vicky and Bertram for just company because he's lonely. He wants to have somebody there. Maybe he's lying to Vicky about, I'm having to protect you from the others. They'll kill you. And he's just pretending to be their protector because he wants company. And maybe the other survivor, the one I'm calling Bertram, I don't know his name, begins with a B. He knows, but maybe when all of the others were getting killed, he told him, look, I can either kill you or you can pretend to go along my story with the girl back there and I'll let you live. Okay, I'll pretend to go along with it. I want to live. Not much of a choice. I get it. So I'm curious to find out more about Kilo and whether there's more of his people on the planet or not. Again, I don't know where this story's going to go. It's interesting because it's only a two-parter. And I have no idea what direction it's going to take. Usually you can kind of plan ahead or make educated guesses. Don't know. No idea what's going to happen. Don't know necessarily who's good, who's bad. mean, I know most of the people are good. Again, I don't know about Bertram and Kilo. I know Vicky's good. So I'm curious to see how part 2 is going to come out. Because, again, I didn't really know much going into this story about it. It's very rare I go into a classic Who story basically blind. Usually I know something about the story going in. You know, like even whenever I watch Underwater Menace for the first time, I know a lot about it. Or the Space Museum, I know a little about it. The Chase, I know some about. You know, this one I knew nothing about. You know, the Romans, I know some about. This one, nothing. And that's been very refreshing. I really enjoyed part 1. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but I did very much enjoy The Powerful Enemy. It was really good. I'm really engaged with this story so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. So, The Rescue, what do you think of it, part 1? I'd like to know what you guys think, because I always enjoy hearing from y'all. So comment down below and tell me what you think of part 1 of The Rescue. Other things to do while I have you here, go ahead and click that like button. Click the subscribe button. Click the bell for notifications. That helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And of course, I am always trying to grow the channel. I want to give a special shout out to the Flyattractor who sent me the Target novelization of this story and the DVD with this story and the Romans on it. I really appreciate both of the packages he sent to me, just as I appreciate everything everyone has sent to me. I also want to give a shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane and the 5th Doctor. I appreciate their continued support. If there's anything you would like to send me, my P.O. Box is down in the description below, as is a link to my Amazon wish list, which I update regularly, and a link to my Amazon UK wish list as well. A link to my Patreon is also down there. If you would like to check that out and see if that's something you would like to support me in, I would certainly appreciate that. But most importantly, thank you for watching.